Having a plan versus not having a plan. Let's get into it. This whole idea came from a comment that I got on one of my videos where I take a technical chart and I'll just map out some very basic things and supports, resistance levels, some trends. And that's a whole nother YouTube channel that I have. But my video charts is what I call them. And that's where this comment comes from. And I read it and I thought, if only trading were that easy. But this person, and if you can maybe relate, or maybe you're doing something similar, I'm not going to sit here and say that you should never, ever trade. I'm just saying you're doing it the wrong way. You don't have a trade plan. And I'm totally guilty of this. But trade plan, strategy system, all kind of one and the same. They get tossed out there all the time. And it becomes a matter of, okay, those are good sound bites, but peeling back the layers, how exactly do you define? How do you quantify? What does having a trade plan, a strategy, a system actually look like? And I'll do my best to kind of run a comparison here of what a strategy looks like and then doesn't look like. And like I said, I want to use this comment I got. I think it offers a good jumping off point. So this person says, thanks for your insight. I'm new but cautious. So if it hits second support, time to exit. I think there's three things that I'm going to talk about, but a video from a few weeks ago, I said three, and then all of a sudden I'm talking about a fourth one. So I don't know, maybe something else will pop up as I go through these. But the first one about, do you have a trade plan or don't you? So let's kind of look at a comparison. Let's just look at it as simply from an experience perspective. Now this will sound obvious. It is obvious, but yet I fell into the trap. This person is in the trap, and I see people in this trap all the time. It just kind of goes to show how sneaky the voices up in our head can be. But yeah, and like I said, I'm not trying to insult your intelligence, but I promise it's not as commonsensical as what it may appear. So experience. You don't have a plan if you are new. I mean, by definition, you are new, so how could you ever have a plan? And what does this person say? Hey, I'm new. Wait a second, but they're putting money on the line. They're putting real money on the line. Now, of course, how do they justify it? Oh, well, I'm being cautious. Those voices, they are sneaky. They are clever. Your own worst enemy is yourself in the world of trading. And here's a prime example of that. Somebody literally admitting that they're new. And if you are new, think about it. Let's do this. I am new to being a brain surgeon. I'm new. I want to be a brain surgeon, and I just signed up for anatomy, physiology, biology. So I signed up for my courses. But this person, they're going to allow me to do brain surgery on them, and I'm going to go for it. I'll be cautious, but I'm going to go for it. Now, of course, that doesn't make any sense. Yet here, it makes sense, apparently, that they're brand new to something. They're new. I shouldn't say brand new because I didn't say brand. So they're new, but yet here they are, because they're being cautious, they're going to go and do it. Well, Clay, maybe they're new, but they actually know what they're doing. They don't. And the other points will come in to prove that. Now, if you do have a plan, what is that going to look like? I'm going to put a question mark there. And this is all, and I'm gonna kind of circle it in green to represent. That's the big money question. When do you have a plan from experience? What is enough experience? How long does it take you to get that experience? I don't know. Welcome to the wonderful, wonderful world of trading and the big challenge. So I probably maybe should have put that last because that's kind of the big punchline. But we'll start off with, how do you know when you have a plan? Well, it takes a lot, and that's where the difficult part comes into play. But one way you definitely don't have a plan what I can say with confidence is if you are new. The second part is, so we have experience. And then this portion. The idea. Where is the idea coming from? Idea towards, we'll call it the strategy, the actual plan. This person's plan, came from a third party. Me. Not only was it a third party, but it was a free, random YouTube channel out there. I mean, I guess I'm flattered that they found enough to want to, allow me to influence their idea. But If you're allowing some third party to influence your idea and you want to be a trader, now again, if you're like my parents and they're like, listen, I'm going third party, I'm giving my money to a financial advisor and they're going to diversify me in mutual funds and all that stuff, fine, that's totally different. That is, you want to be hands off. But if you want to be hands on, be a trader, call yourself a trader, yet you're letting third parties influence your ideas, yeah, you don't have a plan. This person, don't care. When you truly know how to trade, when you truly have the experience needed, you're going to look and be like, yeah, I say this with all due respect, but I don't care. I don't care your thoughts. I don't care your opinion on this. I have my strategy. I have my system. Now, will I listen? Of course I'm going to listen. But if I'm being brutally honest, I really don't care because I have a system, I have the experience where I trust in my system. And that's why I always tell people the biggest compliment any student of mine can ever get me is say, Clay, look, thank you. But with all due respect, shut your mouth. I don't need your opinion. I don't need your thoughts. I know how to do it on my own. Yes, that's what it's about. That's what self-independence, that's what being hands-on, being a trader looks like. And that's why I care so much about it and why what seems kind of as an insult to me, Clay, shut your mouth. I don't need your opinion. Awesome. I have done my job as a teacher, as a coach, as a mentor, whatever you want to call me. For those people that pay for my courses and such, that's what I'm ultimately after. For them to say, don't care. And you know what? That includes you, Clay. I don't care. And then the last time, let's just look at things from a logical perspective. What they said was, you know what? If it hits, words matter. Not if it breaks down through, if it hits. Because if it hits something, it could bounce. Clay, come on, you're kind of just mincing words. I am, but you know what? It matters in trading. Little words matter. Hits means it could still potentially bounce off of what? A support. Now, if you have no idea what I'm talking about, that's fine. Take it as a sign, though. You better not be trading with real money because this is basics upon basics of how to develop trade plans, how to develop trade strategies. So if something hits a support, and then what did this person say? By simply hitting it, they're going to exit. Now, this would be a whole different ball game had they said broken down through. Okay, fine. It broke the support. Yeah, maybe a time to exit. I mean, this still all goes back up to here. Where do they even get the support from? Where did they find this area that's influenced their plan? From the third party. But for them to say, even if it just hits, that's a major problem. And the one for this is, let me just kind of switch up the colors here. At the very, very basics, do you understand what I'm talking about over here? If you do understand it, well then, hey, I would say that you have some logic behind your trade plans. You have some logic in your understanding of trading. With that being said, am I saying that means so you're fully ready to go? No, because as I said earlier, this over here is very, very basic. But if you're understanding what I'm talking about in terms of hitting and the opportunity to bounce, but if it breaks, then yeah, maybe that's the time to exit. Okay, good. You have a grasp on basic concepts. So you're on your way. But if you're sitting here saying, Clay, you're just picking on this person, you're nitpicking. They said hit. So what? What's the difference between hit and break? Then don't worry. You're over here, or you're definitely here. You don't have a plan. You don't actually have the understanding currently to structure a plan. So what does not having a trade plan look like? Well, flat out, you're just new. You're letting third parties influence your decisions. And then if you keep on talking, you'll definitely confirm that you are new and don't know what you're doing. Because like I said, anybody that has a plan is going to realize that, wait, you're selling at a support level. You're selling if it hits a support level. That's not good to do. So realize those things, and there could potentially be some more in there, but I think these are definitely the three driving ones where, yeah, if you fit into any of these, as I've described, again, I'm not trying to scare you away and say you can never trade. I'm just saying you probably should slow things down and realize that you have a whole lot more learning to do. If you are out there trading alone currently and maybe are in the market looking for a community to join to assist you in your trading or to just help you, give you another set of eyeballs, then I do have a private trading community where you can trade alongside me and other experienced traders. So what you see popping up on the screen right now is both an information link. So if you click on the inner circle one, that is going to take you to the page where I explain all the details of what exactly come with the community, both the chat room and the newsletter. And then the other image that has popped up is a behind the scenes tour where you can see exactly what is going to be contained within the community. I take you through, like I said, a behind the scenes tour of everything, and that way you'll know precisely what you are getting when you join. So definitely check that stuff out if you are interested and thinking about wanting to join a community, and let me know if you have any questions.